Within 2 centuries of Alhazen's death, militant Christianity mobilized against Islam in the Mediterranean. The Holy Catholic Church, determined to demonstrate its divine authority, seized on the work of the great Islamic scholars and used Alhazen's breakthroughs to further a Christian knowledge of light.
In the period between about 1000 and 1200 AD, the translation of these texts by scholars from Arabic into Latin, their transmission to the new schools and universities of Western Europe, would produce something like a revolution of learning, a completely new approach to the study of nature.
But the Christian Church's interest in light wasn't simply to improve its grasp of nature, rather to use it as an instrument to both control and inspire its flock.
Mastering light became absolutely central to this project. For medieval Christianity, there was an extraordinarily strong relationship between light and divinity. Light was the first substance to appear in the world. God had said, "Let there be light." At the same time, light became a way of theatricalizing, of dramatizing the truths of the faith. In ways it's now almost impossible for us to imagine. The churches were bright, with candlelight, with stained glass of the most extraordinary colors. A whole theater of the faith whose working in many ways depended on the mastery of light and color.
As the Christian scholars investigated color and how to make it, what they found would become the central theme of one of the most vicious controversies in the history of the Church. The story begins with Roger Bacon, a 13th century Franciscan friar.
Bacon, more or less for the first time in the West, really studied the work of Alhazen, the great Islamic authority on optics. Bacon learnt from Alhazen the structure of the eye, how light and vision happen, the way light bends, and began to study the effect of glass on light, on colors.
By thinking hard about the new glass technologies of the 13th century, Bacon made the most extraordinary breakthrough. He began to see the ways in which curved glasses could change the figure, the shape, and the size of objects that we looked at. Bacon wrote down accounts of newfangled spectacles, of bits of curved glass, which made distant objects appear very near, which made tiny objects vast, which could put colored images into the sky. His excitement is palpable. The newfangled spectacles that would correct the problems of vision, Bacon was enchanted by these things. A new universe of light, of glass, of color opened before him.
Bacon didn't just observe and think in some vague way about how light behaved in the world at large. He brought it into the workshop and experimented on isolated aspects of light's behavior. He watched how it distorted through water and glass, and he noticed how in the sunlight, droplets of water seemed to produce the same colors as the ones he saw in rainbows.
Bacon seems to have become obsessed by the rainbow.
But it was an obsession that was bordering on heresy.
Towards the end of the book of Genesis, Christians learnt that after the great flood which had destroyed all but a few select faithful, God had put into the heaven a mark of his covenant, that he would never again visit destruction upon them. The rainbow stood for that extraordinary relationship between the believers and their God.
Yet Bacon was driven to explain the rainbow using logic and reason.
Its colors were a puzzle, a challenge to his wit, and he could make them experimentally here on earth. He would amaze his audiences by swallowing a mouthful of water and then spitting it out in an arc through a beam of sunlight. He was reproducing colors which you could see in heaven, here on earth, experimentally.
It dawned on Roger Bacon that God's miraculous rainbow must obey rules similar to the mathematical laws of reflection Alhazen had discovered.
There was the danger. Bacon was transgressing all sorts of boundaries, the relationship between what was natural and what was divine, and above all, he made no secret of the fact that he, Roger Bacon, was the unique individual who could really see the truth of things. If there was one thing more impressive, more striking than Bacon's extraordinary ability to understand the phenomena of nature, it was Bacon's ability to make enemies. He was explaining a miracle through natural causes.
For Bacon, it was religious suicide.
For denying the possibility of miracles and declaring that everything that happens is the result of natural law, you shall be taken from this place to a place of confinement.
Bacon was arrested and put into close confinement in Paris. He spent more than 2 decades there, locked up in his cell, studying and writing, but damned because he dared to speak out. He dared to try and explain the wonders of creation using natural principles alone.